Hi there, I'm Michael Bovee. Thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel. Today I am back to talk about when things go bad and you can't pay USAA, whether that's you can't meet your minimum payment, but maybe almost, or things have gotten so bad that you have quit paying them and you have some options to try and deal with that. So let's begin. I cover debt and credit topics on my YouTube channel for many years. Most of it's geared towards helping people help themselves. And sometimes the message is not clear that I do that for people, right? I help people reduce their monthly payments from like virtually all unsecured creditors and USAA as well. When you need help to settle debt and put a plan together, we're an option for you. And we charge less than half of virtually any other company out there doing the same work. And we're actually better at it and been doing it for longer. So anyway, USAA, you're struggling to make your credit card payments or your personal loan balance has fallen behind. So USAA, like many banks, they do work directly with nonprofit credit counseling agencies across the country. There's a few dozen of these now. They're mostly national. There used to be many more than that, but they've consolidated that industry. And they are kind of like the first stop shop for me when I'm talking with somebody. I can usually get to the heart of the matter in all of 4 minutes when that's going to apply and when it's kind of you're past the point of working with a nonprofit providing much benefit. What they do, as you know from other videos, is they contact your creditors and they get your payments reduced because of interest rate concessions that they're able to achieve getting from USAA, for example. Now, sometimes that's enough relief or all the relief you need, and that's perfect, right? That's why I start there because maybe you can't afford the $500 minimum to USAA, but they could get it reduced down to say 390 or 410. That would deliver a little bit of cash flow savings. What if they could do that across many of your credit card accounts? So again, controlling your monthly cash flow, reducing those payments to make it so that it's affordable based on today's income, right? So that's an option. Working with USAA through a nonprofit, especially if you have more than one account. You can call USAA yourself and ask them about any hardship plans that they might have available for you. There's a process to do that to make sure that you kind of set yourself up for success. But the key is that um, if you have more than one account, especially several accounts, having a nonprofit go there, just call them. It's a free call. Most of the time, you're going to be getting an exact quote at the end of that call, as long as you can answer some basic, very basic income and expense questions to know how much they're going to be able to get your payments reduced and how much help that's going to deliver you. And then you'll know whether or not it's appropriate, right? So the more accounts you have, the more it makes sense to have somebody manage that process for you because not all banks are going to do that the same way with you or at all with you. So talking with a nonprofit and getting an idea of what can be done is going to help you a ton. Now, what if you've already fallen late with USAA and or you know that you can't do one of those debt management plans? Then you really have to start thinking about the other two intervention alternatives, right? So in the US, we have really mainly three debt intervention alternatives. Debt management plans, no hit to your credit typically, other than the account gets closed, which might drop your credit score a couple points, big deal. Um, it's on autopilot, right? Soft, gentle debt intervention. And then you've got bankruptcy, right? So you should think about talking with a local bankruptcy attorney, somebody in your city, right, that has done bankruptcy. I usually tell people look for somebody who's been doing it for 5 or more years. They'll have seen mostly the things that they can help you, not have any exotic issues or complicated Chapter 7 issues. You do want Chapter 7, by the way. Chapter 13 has its place, but usually settlement is better than a 13. But nothing can compete in the reduction you'll see on a USAA credit card or on a personal loan if you qualify for Chapter 7, right? Not debt management, not what I do, debt settlement. So talk to a local attorney about that, but most unsecured debts will qualify for bankruptcy. Sometimes you have other accounts with USAA, like your mortgage or your car loan that you're current on. And a lot of times you're able to keep that mortgage paid and keep that home in a Chapter 7. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. That's why you want to talk to an attorney. A lot of times you're able to keep your car loan through USAA as well because you can reconfirm that debt in your bankruptcy, another topic to talk about with your bankruptcy attorney. So now let's get to settlement. So settling with USAA is very similar to most any credit card bank or personal loan. There are some timing issues as to how banks treat the accounts that they're not getting paid on for accounting purposes, that they're audited for compliance, so they comply. Has to do with charge off. And sometimes you can get pretty good deals. And then other times, not so much. Just depends on your circumstances. We can talk about that if you want to schedule some time with me. Um, it's typical to want to settle a debt on a credit card, usually leading up to the 6-month mark. But on a personal loan, their charge off, their accounting principles that they follow are a little more accelerated. So you'll want to work with USAA probably leading up to 120 days on a personal loan. The amounts and things that how low you can go is one thing. The other thing, and this is actually paramount to many people's success, I'd say probably more people than not, is okay, fine, I can get a settlement. All right, USAA, let's just assume, like I do on a lot of my videos, let's say they reduce it to half. Okay. Now, if you do your settlement in the early innings, you may be precluded from getting more than 90-day terms on that settlement. So let's assume, because USAA can have a lot of high balances, right? Let's assume for a moment you've got a 10K balance with USAA and they're going to settle it for 5. And you need that money inside of a 90-day window. That's out of reach for a lot of us. Not all of us, but some of us. And then you're like, well, okay, that's a good deal, but it's what kind of deal is it if I can't do it? Not a good one, actually. So you have to think about what can I do to get this settled at that same rate or even lower sometimes and get lots of runway, lots of payment time. And that's an art form, but you want to you first off know that they do give time. USAA gives time on settlements. So that helps, but is it the one that you should be focused on? Do you have more than just this one account? If not, it's simple, right? Just contact USAA and you're done one time. If you have more than one, and most do, different creditors, you have to, with limited resources and you're not able to raise the cash, and you're like, well, how long do I need to stretch out USAA? And how much am I going to give them? Because I've got these other ones. They might be more aggressive than USAA. They may be less aggressive, right? So there's knowledge and kind of a formula that you can put together that will optimize your savings, give you the right amount of time to do this, depending on each creditor, right? So that part, a lot of times you just need help, right? And we do that, like I said at the beginning. Sometimes it's obscure. I can't believe I left that off the videos for so long, but yes, I can help you. I can help you help yourself, or I can help you, right? And it all starts with a free phone call. You will be talking to me if you schedule using in the description below. There's a link to my calendar and a link to our consult page as well on our website. Just bring up my calendar, pick a time that works for you, and I'll call you at that time. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the buckets for collection. So here in the US, we have 3 different collection buckets that unsecured creditors will typically use. You've got contingency collectors, you've got debt buyers, and then you've got collection law firms. USAA predominantly uses contingency collectors, right? These are the folks that call you and write you and try to get you to pay, but there's really no or else, right? So it's in their best interest to collect something, otherwise they get nothing, right? So they're a huge part. Contingency collectors are probably the biggest part of most people's debt settlement trajectory for all the time that I've been doing this 25 years, right? So that's normal, right? And you can get good reduction and good time to pay. There are debt buyers. USAA, they took a long time off of selling debt and they've started to dabble into that again. Not much, like, Citibank and Synchrony, more accounts get sold than not. But here with USAA, far less accounts get sold than do, right? A little bit more nuanced in the way that they look at the collectability that you are, how collectible you might be to them based on things that they are available to them to formulate that opinion, right? And having a discussion about what to prepare for and how low they'll go, how long they'll go. Again, set beside other creditors. Debt buyers are not something to fear at all. In fact, I would say that they're one of the more beneficial parts of the debt settlement work I've done over the years because of their flexibility. Yes, they're aggressive, but if you have consistent income or a lump sum of money to work with, there's no reason to ever get sued by a debt buyer as long as you're timely, as long as you're proactive, right? And then third are collection law firms. Yes, USAA uses collection law firms. I wouldn't put them up on the list of super duper aggressive and going after their account holders hardcore, which is cool because they go after, a lot of our servicemen and women, people in just service jobs like police, fire, nursing, EMTs, things like that. So they target that market, and this is the infrastructure of our country, right? And so I'm happy to report that USAA isn't overly aggressive on the sue, 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 go get them button, but they do it. And so you have to keep that in mind as you're thinking about, well, I don't have any money. What am I supposed to do? What can I do? Right. And we talked about the debt management plans, the bankruptcy, and then that settlement if you can't do Chapter 7. There is a place for Chapter 13, and we can talk about that if you want to schedule some time with me or in the comments. I answer all comments in my YouTube channel every day with my morning coffee. So if you post and it's the middle of the day and I don't respond, don't worry. I'll probably see it first thing in the morning and you'll wake up to an answer from me. See you on the next video.